YouTube, it's Above Average Coding, and today we talk about everything in reticle settings and how to make your reticle nice and easily visible on not only light surfaces but also dark surfaces here in Halo Infinite. Now, the bulk of this video we're going to be in the settings in the gameplay tab. Here, guys, is where you'll find all things in the heads-up display, including your reticle settings and outlines and colors. Now, first off, guys, let's talk about just the regular white reticle. You have it for just about every weapon, no matter what you pick up, and that general white part is your reticle, and that is included in the heads-up display settings in this game. So you go to HUD, if you turn it off, you have zero reticle and nothing else in between. So it is part of your HUD. I've mentioned turning it off completely for practicing with aim and things like that. But again, a topic for another video. So we're going to focus on the HUD opacity. If you go to default, you don't notice a huge difference, but you can see the circle around the reticle is very faded now. The opacity is how transparent or non-transparent the reticle and everything else on the heads-up display, being the mini-map, the gun you have, the ammo, your equipment, and everything of the sort. Now, not a huge difference there. Now, if we were to go lower with the opacity for the HUD, let's say 0.1, now we can barely see our reticle, we can barely see everything. The reason you may want to go lower is because it's kind of cluttering your screen. Maybe somebody's behind the mini-map on your screen, like right here, if somebody's coming through pillar door or something. Maybe you feel like you can't see it that much, but for the majority of players, turning the HUD up is the most advantageous thing because it makes your reticle as non-transparent as possible, which makes it very easy to see, mainly on the darker areas of the map, because you guys saw how faded and hard to see it was on 0.1. This is the max value. However, the white can still kind of blend in on lighter areas like the walls here by Big Door on live fire. So that is when we go down to the settings under gameplay again in the tab, but we're going to go down to outlines and colors and go down to reticle outline opacity and reticle outline thickness. And you guys guessed it, this is that very nice visible black outline around the already white reticle. Same idea here, guys, with these two values. The opacity does not matter unless you have the thickness on. So if we turn the thickness all the way down, we have no black line around the reticle. Still very easy to see on the dark wall. However, on the light wall, again, you can kind of lose the reticle. I'm sure it's even more apparent here in the video than it would be on your own screen and your monitor. So we're going to go back down here. I'm just going to show you guys default briefly. Default on 1, you do get a little bit of thickness, a very thin black outline, but I prefer to run mine, guys, on the max value because that is how you get the very nice and very visible and the thickest reticle you can possibly get on screen. So there is no doubt about your reticle. The black outline makes it very easy to see now on the bright white walls, and then it makes it still easy to see because it's the same amount of white in the darker areas right here under pillars area. And then again, guys, you can play with the opacity of just the outline, not for the entire HUD. So say again, we go to 0.1, you will have the same thickness on the outline, but you can hardly see it because it is practically entirely transparent. So I'll just show you guys the default opacity just for good measure. So we'll go to 0.6, which is default. And you get a nice little, like, almost like a gray outline on it. So maybe you don't like the full thickness, but you like just enough to give it a little bit of pizzazz. There you go. You can play with the opacity. So the thickness is obviously the size of the line, and then the opacity is how transparent or how easy to see it is. So I run them both on max personally, guys. It makes it easy to see. It makes it very visible on pretty much any surface of any color you could possibly put it on, and especially over enemy players. I like it. It's easy. I'm a very simple man, and I like to have the reticle very, very visible. It does the same thing to every reticle here, as you can see on the assault rifle. Same thing. If we were to track back and do the opposite of what we just did, guys, I could take off the black line or make this white reticle very faded and very different than it is now. People are always asking me what my reticle settings are. Literally, put all of the opacity and all of the thickness settings on max if you want the easiest to see reticle. You could probably just rock default and not notice a huge difference, but personally, I like it more all the way up. That's why I want to show you guys kind of every variation of what you can do. And for some reason, it seems like a lot of players don't even know this setting exists. So again, go to gameplay. You can find your heads-up display settings. All of these settings will affect the main white part of the reticle, and then outlines and colors, the bottom two, the reticle outline opacity and reticle outline thickness, will affect that black outline that is on nearly every reticle. And one last thing I will mention that some beginner players do not know. You may notice sometimes you watch the pros and they have a smaller reticle than you have. That is changed by your FOV. Now, I just did a big video on field of view. I'll link below, because field of view will affect a lot more things than just your reticle. But if we go to 120 degrees here, we now have a much, much smaller circle on the BR reticle. The assault rifle reticle is also much, much smaller. And now if you go all the way down on field of view, guys, it gets much, much bigger, and much, much bigger on the battle rifle as well. You can see it scales the screen as well. Things look closer and further away. So just keep in mind, a lot of other things will change on field of view. So if you're going to start playing with field of view just to change your reticle, I do recommend you checking out the video down below in the description. But that is everything I have for you guys on reticle settings, how to change the appearance of it, and I hope it helped you out if that's what you were looking for. Otherwise, guys, subscribe to the channel. We literally upload every single day here Halo content, stream Halo Infinite 5 days a week. It's a ton of fun here on the channel, so hit that sub button, guys. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. What do you like running your settings at? Do you really not care? Do you leave it all default? Curious to hear your guys' input. And then finally, channel membership. Super thanks if you'd like support monetarily, guys. It helps me out a lot as a creator, but please do not feel like you have to. But alrighty, guys. That does it for me. Video's long enough for just talking about reticles. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next one.